And you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Did you actually know what they were talking about?
I don't know.
Well, they had told you by that point that the whole thing was on video and that they watched you attack your grandfather, correct?
And yes, I guess I did.
So you did know what they were talking about?
Yes.
Just like you know what I'm talking about today, correct?
Once again, they're not my friends. They're not really there to help me. So why would I put myself in a situation to be honest with one of them?
Because you view them as the enemy, correct?
No, that's not true at all.
Well, if they're not your friends and they're investigating the death of your grandfather, and they're trying to get an accurate picture of what happened that night and understanding what's going on in your head,
Yeah,
why lie to them?
because they lie too.
You got experience with that?
Yeah, I have.
Did they lie when you were adjudicated delinquent for the robbery case in juvenile court in 2019?
They kind of tricked me into taking that charge when I shouldn't have been charged with it. It's just I was a juvenile and I wasn't trying to push it. And the same thing, my grandma was telling me, don't push it.
And did the police lie on you in 2023 when you got convicted of that violating protection order?
Violating protection order with Laura Napier.
Yeah.
She always said I violated, and I think 4 times she never showed up to court. This is the only time she's ever showed up to court about a violation.
Again, my question is, did you violate the protection order in 2023?
Yeah, I went over here.
So were the police lying about that?
No.
And you'd agree with me that there's video evidence of you violating the protection order from that night in February 21st, 2024, correct?
You said when?
The night of the murder of your grandfather. There's video evidence of you
Yes.
going to Laura Napier's house then, correct?
Yes.
So we heard some questions of Ms. Napier that maybe that's somebody else. That's you, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And when the police were interviewing you the morning of February 22nd, they identified the potential issue that we're talking about today, right? Your grandmother using racist language.
Yep.
Do you remember your response?
No.
You said, that ain't caused no issue with me. I ain't no N-word. I'm not black, so I ain't give one fuck. Do you remember that response?
Yeah, I said
That you said?
Yep.
Okay, so you agree with me, you told the police that you weren't upset about your grandmother using racist language. Would you agree with me on that?
Once again, I lied to him.
Yes or no, sir?
Once again, I lied to him.
Are you lying now?
Nope.
And you told the detectives again that you didn't know what they were talking about, quote, I don't know what you're talking about, end quote, correct?
Yep.
All right. I want to cover something you said in your testimony. Mr. McDean was asking you about the day of February 21st, 2024. Do you remember your testimony just a little bit ago?
Yep.
Yeah. You said you woke up around 7:30 that morning. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I actually didn't wake up. I was saying like just starting my evening. Remember?
Okay, because you agreed with me later in your testimony, you said you'd been awake for 3 straight days, right?
Yeah.
But earlier you had testified in this case right now to this jury that you woke up that morning, correct?
Yeah, and I apologize for the mistake.
Implying that you have in fact been asleep, correct?
I was never asleep though.
Are you having trouble keeping your story straight, sir?
No, I'm not. I can have it. You can subpoena Kayla Napier and she could say the same thing. All I did was lay down. So in my opinion, I just said I woke up.
So let me just understand your testimony, sir. You were awake for 3 straight days.
Yes, I was.
What were you doing at night while everyone else in the house was asleep? Your PS5 was at your friend's place, correct?
Yep.
So you weren't up night playing video games Fortnite, correct?
Actually, I wasn't home. I was at my friend's house for I think 2 days straight because once again I can't have Kayla at my house.
Who's your friend's house?
Corey.
What's Coy's last name?
I don't know.
You don't know your friends that you stayed with for 2 straight nights?
Once again, I only pay him to stay at their house.
So again, you had to pick up a job for $12.50 an hour at the sandwich production factory in Avon. What's the
Yep.
name of the store, by the way, or the business?
I don't remember. It's like a season. I think. I
Okay.
don't.
And you needed this job because you were having economic troubles, correct?
Money issues?
Yeah.
No, I already said that I only got the job just so I could show my girlfriend that I could get a job.
Okay, and that's because you and Kayla have a rocky history. Is that fair?
Like, what do you mean?
Well, you and Kayla have had altercations between the two of you yourself, correct?
Physical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And fair to say that in an August 21st, 2024 phone call to your grandmother, you said that you would embarrass Kayla, record her while you were, quote, beating the fuck out of her, end quote, and that, and quote, I'm telling you, bro, I'm a piece of shit, end quote. Do you remember that? Did you say that?
I probably did, out of anger.
And you agree with me that you get angry pretty easily, correct?
Yeah.
And you actually texted Kayla 10 days later on August 31st that you would beat her because she liked to cheat on you. Is that correct?
Yeah, I probably did.
Do you find it ironic that you were trying to cheat on her that night with two different women?
Yeah, but
So it's good for the goose isn't good for the gander. Is that fair?
she cheated on me way before that, so yeah.
In September of 2024, did you tell your grandmother on September 8th in a call at 8:31 p.m. that you woke up in jail for something I didn't even do?
I probably did.
But you knew that you had done that, correct? Because you didn't black out, right?
Actually, when I was in jail, I was a little confused
Why was that?
because I was high.
You were high in jail,
Yeah.
and you told your sister that you were tired of everyone threatening you to jail.
Yeah.
You heard that call before?
Yep.
And you knew what you had done. You hadn't blacked out, correct?
No.
You knew exactly what you were doing that night. And in fact, you said it was the stress that made you, quote, crash out for no reason, end quote, correct?
I had so many things going on. I had too many things going on.
Okay, but you'd agree with me that the phrase crashed out for no reason implies that there wasn't any justification or reason why you did this, correct?
My grandfather used to put his hands on me.
Objection, move to strike.
Jury to disregard.
And on September 9th, 2024, in a call to your ex-girlfriend Kayla, you said you were a gangsta, correct?
Probably did.
And that you're a street, and I'm the definition of what a gangsta is.
Yeah.
And again, in your interview, you said you're not black, you're not bothered by racist language towards black people, correct?
You talking about with Larson?
Your interview with Detective Lesh the morning of February 22nd, you said, I ain't give one fuck, correct?
Of course, lied to me.
Are you lying now?
Nope.
How do we know that?
I don't know.
Do we just have to take your word for it?
I would just, in my opinion, I would just never be honest with somebody that's a detective because they're trying to put a case on me, so.
Well, I'm trying to put a case on you too, correct?
Yeah, I understand that,
Are you lying to me?
but I'm under oath.
Oh, that makes it different.
Yeah.
Did you tell your sister September 24th, 2024 in a call that you were self-medicated and the hood pharmacist?
Probably did.
And in December of 2024, did you refer to yourself as a psychopath and threaten to attack Kayla's ex-boyfriend when you get out?
Objection, Your Honor.
Move to sustain that. Jury to disregard.
Joseph, would you agree with me you're a volatile person who doesn't handle it well when you don't get what you want?
That's not true.
Well, did your grandmother say something like that in the call we've heard, that you have trouble accepting things not going your way?
I think she's really just talking about herself.
And you'd agree with me that there's no evidence on video of your grandfather attacking you that night, correct?
There isn't.
And when you walked in, he was simply sitting in his chair by the door and even apologized to you that the door had been locked when you first came in at 10:50, correct?
That's okay.
I'm just asking, is that accurate?
Yeah, but you're trying to add that he's just calm.
Sir, I'm not asking for the editorial. Your attorney will have a chance to redirect. I'm just asking for a yes or no, did that happen?
Go ahead, keep going.
Thank you, sir. And you were out with friends. Did you, the firearm that you had, did it have the laser attachment on earlier that night?
No,
So you weren't pointing it at other people in the car before you even came home?
no, I was pointing at the car, and that was a different beam.
It was a different beam?
Yeah, you guys obviously didn't find that one.
Okay, so you did have a laser attachment on your firearm earlier that night?
Yeah, it was a purple beam.
Did it come off when you were beating your grandfather in the head?
It obviously probably did.
So we just didn't find that,
I guess not.
just like we didn't find your phone.
Guess not.
And when you came home, were you upset with your grandmother for using that racist language?
Yes, I was.
And you told the police you weren't. So you left and you went down the street to your girlfriend's house who you were trying to cheat on, and you broke her window.
Yeah,
And you came back, you ran inside, and you started in on your grandmother, ostensibly for using racist language, you say. And did you make some kind of statement about if the police come in here, it's over?
yeah, I mean, like, I'm going to jail.
Okay. And you'd agree with me that in the video we watched, you were very concerned when you're in the backyard area with your grandfather, when you can hear the sirens in the distance approaching. Is that fair?
Yeah,
So, fair to say that it's over if the police come in here, you were preventing Malcolm from being able to make a statement to police. Is that accurate?
no, I don't think that's fair to say that.
And when you got into it with your grandmother, you pulled the gun you had from the car and you began hitting her with it
I hit her one time.
one time in the left side of her head, your right side, correct?
I believe so.
Right. You're right-handed.
Yep.
And as you were swinging the firearm, did you have your hand on the grip and your finger kind of near the trigger on the trigger guard, or
I don't remember.
how were you holding the gun?
I'm supposed to know what happened a year ago.
Well, you're the one who was doing it, sir. How did you do it?
I was on the range. I have no idea.
And you'd agree with me that you weren't so underage that you couldn't give orders or commands, correct?
I don't know.
Well, did you tell your grandfather to get up out of the kitchen and move to another spot?
The whole night was like a blur. I can't really answer that question.
Well, I'm not seeing how I'm confused, sir, because earlier and in your jail calls, you've testified and said that you remember exactly what happened, but you know exactly what you did and didn't do. So, do you remember what you did then?
I was doing my grandma, right?
I'm asking, do you remember what you did and didn't do?
Not really.
Now, were you able to stop beating your grandfather to provide him with a towel?
On camera, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I don't know.
You don't know if you remember that?
I don't remember the whole night. I don't, like,
Is there more to that answer, or? You
I don't remember the whole night.
Okay. You saw the video though, right?
Yeah, I did.
And you were able to stop beating your grandfather long enough to give him a towel, to point the gun at him and order him back out into the back patio, correct?
Yeah,
And you were able to stop beating him while you were ordering him to remain in the chair and, quote, shut the fuck up, correct?
yeah,
So it wasn't just a continuous pummel, bludgeon attack from the get-go, correct? You were able to stop?
yeah.
So would you agree with me that you made a conscious decision to start beating him again?
No,
No, you don't think that's...
I don't think I made a decision.
Well, would you agree with me that you started hitting him and pointing the gun at him and took him into the kitchen?
I guess so.
And you kept hitting him, he fell to the floor, and he was begging to get up and begging for Pam to come help him, correct?
Yeah,
And we actually see on video you go to the garage area calling for Pam, correct?
yeah,
So your passions weren't so inflamed that you couldn't stop and try to go find Pam, correct?
I guess so.
Okay. And then you come back, you help him get a towel so that he would frankly be quiet, correct?
I guess.
And then you take him outside and you start hitting him again in the head with the pistol, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. And is the reason why you started hitting him again in the head with a pistol because he was starting to make noise again?
I can't answer that question.
Well, did you tell him to shut up and you tried to make him shut up because you were worried about the police coming and the sirens in the distance?
I don't know.
Well, did you make a statement to him about, I'm trying to let you live, but you won't let me?
I guess I did.
So fair to say that you believe that you had to do this because your grandfather wouldn't, quote, shut the fuck up, end quote.
I don't know. I can't answer that.
So again, you would agree with me that the reason that you began bludgeoning your grandfather with the pistol and then the shovel was because he tried to get up after you explicitly told him not to, and he kept making noise. Is that right?
I don't see that's the reason why.
Well, is that what you said? That if he tried to get up, that you would blow his head off?
That's what I said that night.
And you pointed the gun at his head multiple times? And you tried to pull the trigger, correct?
I guess.
Well, you watched the video. Is that what happened?
Can you see me pulling the trigger?
That's a question ultimately for the jury, sir, but the clicks that we hear, is that you pulling the trigger?
I don't know. That could be anything. That could be a branch falling or anything.
Oh, there was a branch falling.
I'm giving you an example.
In your fit of rage, do you remember a branch falling that night?
No, but you're trying to tell me something that you don't even know. You're asking me, right?
And when the gun wouldn't fire, that's when you picked up the shovel, right?
I guess.
And you said, quote, I'm going to fucking cut your head off with an axe. Do you understand? End quote. Is that what you asked?
Yeah.
And what did your grandfather say in response to that?
Don't know.
It's because you had already made the decision you were going to kill him, correct?
I don't think I made any decision.
Well, did you make the decision to go looking for another weapon when your gun wouldn't fire?
I don't know.
Well, why did you pick up the shovel, sir?
I don't know.
Is the reason you don't know because the answer would be bad for you?
No.
Because you agree with me that you lied to the police, right?
Yeah.
You lying to me?
No, I'm not.
And you started swinging the shovel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, striking your grandfather in the head, correct?
Yeah.
You agree with me that it takes a lot of effort to swing that shovel like a baseball bat, correct?
Yeah.
Do you remember making the decision to kill your grandfather then?
No, I didn't.
And once you dropped the shovel, you pulled your gun back out from your right pants pocket. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you racked the slide, remember? And you tried to come up, well, first you pistol whipped your grandfather again, correct?
Yep.
And then you tried to come up point blank to his left side, your right side, and you tried to pull the trigger again, correct?
I guess so.
You were trying to execute your grandfather, right?
If I don't believe so, because why would you hit somebody in the head with a shovel 6 times and then try to shoot them? Does that make sense?
Sir, nothing about this case makes sense.
It doesn't. To me, neither.
Were you trying to execute your grandfather?
No.
What were you trying to do?
I can't tell you that.
Well, you were there, you were conscious, you remember parts of that evening apparently. What were you trying to do?
In my opinion, I don't remember.
In your opinion, you don't remember.
When I went to court, I didn't even remember a shovel.
You agree with me that you knew exactly what you were doing that night, right?
No, I don't.
One other thing I want to come back to, sir. You testified in the course of that evening on direct that you were hungry around dinner time. There was no food in the house. Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you remember your grandmother testifying that she made a large dinner that night? That there was actually too much food, that she made too much? Do you remember that?
She did. We had to go to the store.
So I guess I'm curious, which is it? Was there no food in the house and you didn't stay for dinner? or there was a lot of food and you were part of the trip to the grocery store?
She went to the store.
Did you stay for dinner that night?
I was home.
So, I guess, did you actually go out like you testified earlier?
Yeah, I went to pick up my PS5.
Did you get food outside the house at that time?
No.
You'd agree with me that you were able to control your emotions that night, correct?
No.
Now, one of the last things I want to get to, sir, and I promise I'll be done. You testified on direct that you kept hitting Mac because you were afraid of what he would do if you stopped.
Yeah.
So would it be fair to say that you kept attacking him because you didn't want to let him up?
No, that's not true.
But you agree that you did stop attacking him multiple points during this evening, correct?
But I had a weapon in my hand.
So you were the one in control, right?
I guess so.
You were the one ordering him around?
Yeah.
You were the one making him stay in one place?
Yeah.
You were the one ordering him from one room to another, removing him where he was found?
Yeah.
You were the one terrorizing him, correct?
Yeah.
Because you said in the jail call that we listened to, you were just trying to scare him, correct?
Yeah, that's what I said.
You were trying to hurt him too, correct?
No, I wasn't.
Well, what did you think would happen when you pulled the trigger on the gun?
I don't know.
What did you think would happen when you pistol whipped him over and over and over again?
I don't know.
What did you think was going to happen when you bludgeoned him with the shovel 6 times?
Again, I don't know.
And you told him repeatedly if he didn't comply with your orders, you would shoot him, correct?
Yeah.
And you told him if he didn't stop talking, you would kill him, correct?
Yeah.
And you told him if he didn't stop, that you would cut his head off, correct?
Yeah.
And you followed through on that threat and killed your grandfather, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Nothing further on.
Mr. McNeil?